Okay, so I lied. This is going to be a two for day. Today we are covering rules 3, well, probably only the third rule of co-parenting. Now this one really stems from your kids, and this is very interchangeable in all aspects. Okay, when you are co-parenting, you have to keep in mind rule number 1 is always don't talk crap about the other parent. That is not an interchangeable rule. That one has to stay where it's at because that's vital for your kids. Rule number 2 is listen to your kids as well as the other co-parent. I believe that's what I put it as. But there are other rules. Rule number 3 for me really stems to making everything even in both houses. If there's rules in one house, the same kind of needs to flow to the next house. So we need to make sure that they are almost even. Because without having the even rules, kids get confused. Very, very much so confused. And that's not good for any age group because, like with your small children, they're going to go, okay, well, this is okay at this house, but it's not okay at that house. And it's just going to be complete, utter confusion. So this can actually be moved up to rule number 2 if you guys want, because it is of vital importance. Kids need conformity. They need a schedule. They need to know that everything is the same. This works for children with autism who are regular. They need that security blanket at every age. But you have to make sure your rules are very similar. You also have to make sure that you are a stickler to the punishments. My kids will go be being punished at my house, but not at their dad's, or vice versa. But the reason they wouldn't be punished at my house is because I wouldn't know that they were on punishment at their dad's. So that's the thing there, is both families need to work together. And also, when you set a discipline time, like say you ground your child for 3 days, you can hear my kid arguing with her stepdad in the kitchen while I'm doing this. So make sure that both houses stick to it. That is important, that everybody sticks together on it. My kids will tell you that my house is much, much stricter than their dad's house, but that's just because that's how I've always run my house. My house has always been a lot stricter. I've never been one for very much leniency or not having like my rules set in place. My kids have always had bedtimes. My kids have always had dinner times. Even if I'm not there, I know that they're going to be eating at that time in my house because that's what time dinner is. And I know that for a lot of families, it's hard to get that routine down, but the routine is what's going to help the most. As counseling will help a lot as well. When you first separate, and this can go into this rule as well, get counseling. Both sides of the family need it, because if not, your child may blame you, may blame themselves for the splitting of the parents, and that's the last thing your child needs to do. Your child needs to understand it's just because sometimes two adults go in different ways. In my case, it was, we had different morals, we had different outlooks, we had different desires for the family. So that's the real reason, besides other reasons, that we split. But we just had two completely different outlooks. And anyone that knows me knows I am not better than anyone. In fact, I've never looked at myself as better than anyone. I never will, because no one's perfect. No one person. Everyone makes their mistakes. That's why I have the rules. That's why I have the regulations. That way I stay to my guns and I keep myself honest. And really, I've been honest with my kids from the get-go about everything that happened when their dad and I split. So they literally know everything that happened. But they also have their viewpoint, and they have also heard their dad's viewpoint. And that's where they've come up with their, because everybody's going to have a different viewpoint on it. But that's where they got theirs. But take your kid to counseling. Make sure they have a schedule. Make sure that you both, or you all, work together on making sure that everything works cohesively for that child's sake. You may think buying your children a lot of things is going to buy their love when the other parent can't do it. No, really it doesn't. My kids would rather have time and spend special time together rather than go and have a bunch of stuff bought for them. They'd rather spend time. Time is the one thing you can't buy. The one thing that can't be replaced. Clothing and all that stuff, it can be replaced very easily. But your time, and giving your time to that child, making sure that child has a routine, that can't be replaced. In fact, that will help them so much as they grow up to be more ready for society. Because I'm sorry, a lot of our society is routine. Come on, we get up, we either drink our coffee or eat, or don't eat, and we go to work. We come home, we make our kids dinner, we spend a little bit of time doing what we have to do, and then we go to bed. And then we repeat. It's rinse and repeat, people. So any extra time you can give to your kids makes a world of difference. That's why I tell people when they're first getting divorced, don't ever tell your ex that they can't see the kid. If they're trying to spend that time is precious. That time is important. Spend that little bit of time. Cook dinner together. Sit down at the table, help your kids with their homework, even if you really don't know. That's what Google's for. Yeah, that's what Google's for, in case you don't understand what they're doing. Because a lot of things have changed since we were in school. But sit there, help them with their homework. If you're real religious, don't really force it down your kid's throat, because they may not always agree with it. It's okay to go to church. It's okay to believe in God. It's okay to do what you believe. But don't be too forceful. Let them make their own decisions, because you'll be amazed at how much they follow you. Everything you say and do makes an impact, even if you don't think it does. Later, you might hear those exact words that you said that you didn't think they were hearing. And then you're like, oh, what else did they hear? Keep that in mind. Life isn't always about what the parent wants. And a lot of times when parents are going, oh, well, I can just buy little Timmy this, or I can buy little Tommy that, and that'll make up for me not being there. It kind of does, but it kind of doesn't, because just taking a few minutes out of each day to listen to your kid makes a world of difference. So rule number 3 is always keep with the routine and make extra time for your kid. Even when they're adults, make extra time just to spend with them. because you never know what's going to happen in life. So always remember, every moment you spend together is a precious memory that they will have. They may not say anything about it, but one day they'll think back and go, yeah, my mom or dad did this with me. That was really nice. I'm going to do that with my kids. I cook with my kids. I bake with my kids. I go and help my husband work on our cars with the kids. We do all kinds of things just to spend extra time with our kids. And that's what's been most important, is spending time with them. I didn't get to spend much time with my kids when they were little. I had to work. I had to have jobs. That way I could keep food in their bellies, because I wasn't going to get any help anywhere else. So enjoy every minute. Children are the most important part of co-parenting. Besides not arguing, not fighting, and keeping the peace, it is vital to understand that your kids and what little time you get with them, because you think average person lives about 70 years. You only get that child for 18 years. That's a very small portion of their life. It's a very small portion of their life that you get to be the main focus of their life. So, as always, like and subscribe, click the bell icon. That way you get notified whenever I upload or whenever I'm doing a live stream, which I plan to do one next weekend. But as always, down below there's a link to a GoFundMe to help my husband and me have a child together, because we have no children together. My 2 children are from prior marriage and I have fertility issues. So if you want me to be an emotional wreck and want to watch every emotional issue, go to that GoFundMe, donate, click subscribe. You guys get to watch all the emotions get to pour out, and you get to watch who knows how many come into the world. As always, bye. Have a great night.